Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is VIN1293. This is currently off market, but you will probably be seeing it for sale soon. This is a 2016 083 ultra white with gold flake with LA30 red interior. And it is in Massachusetts with 43,000 miles, and you will see it for question mark price. We'll get into that here in a minute. Production statistics. White with red is the most common color combo on these cars. 648 out of the 2,347 for the US 49 everywhere except Hawaii were ultra white. 361 of those had LA30 red interior. That's 15.37% of all of the US 49 production was this color combination, so it is a 1 out of 10 for rarity. Not going to be collectible just for the color combination. For 2016 though, 372 out of the 1,417 cars were ultra white, and 214 of those were LA30 red interior. So at its rarest, this car is one of 214. Still rare as a GSF, but common for the color combination. Carfax, Epic VIN, and AutoCheck. Carfax shows this as a one owner, one accident, and one damage event. The accident being moderate to the front left and left rear, and it says that the airbags were deployed as well, and that was in 2017, so that was 9 years ago. The current owner said that he got the information from the previous owner that said they hit a center divider, there was no frame damage, everything aligned perfect, and the repairs were very high quality. And he's correct. That's 9 years ago. If there was an issue, you would have had paint issues or alignment issues or tire wear issues or something from that, and that doesn't seem to be the case. So whatever repair was done, appears to be a quality repair. The other damage event is in August of 2020. That could be something like a windshield replacement, or maybe you hit a curb or something on the bottom, or hit something in the road. That's usually what those are, usually minor and nothing to worry about there. Epic VIN shows this as a 3-owner, 1 accident, same accident as the Carfax. AutoCheck shows this as a 4-owner, no accident. I don't know how that escaped AutoCheck, but I think it's safe to assume this is a 3-owner, 1 accident car with 1 further damage report. Previous sales. This car went on sale in March of 2016, $87,000 in Georgia, and they dropped it to $74,000 in July of 2016, $73,000 in September of 2016. Looks like they bumped it back up in October of 2016. I guess the dealer finally gave up and they sent it to auction in October of 2016, and it was bought by a Toyota dealer who sold it in November of 2016. First registered in December of 2016, so this accident happened 3 months after the first owner acquired it, but the car was for sale for 9 months. And you've heard me talk about this before with other videos, that these cars, when they were new, they did not sell well at $90,000. It took somewhere around $70,000 to $75,000 to get them sold to the first owner. So they were discounting these, $15,000, $20,000 plus sometimes, which is where the market probably would have been when these cars were new, $70,000, $75,000. And so this is evidence here. Otherwise they sit, and it still sat, and then they still ended up having to sell it around $70,000, $75,000 when it was new. October of 2018, this is after the accident. It was then wrapped red, and it was for sale $56,000 with 19,000 miles in New Jersey. Still for sale in January of 2019. They dropped it to $49,000, so they dropped it $7,000. Still for sale in March of 2019, and it finally sold in April of 2019. So it was for sale for 6 months after that. So 9 months for sale for the first owner, 6 months for sale to the second owner. And the current seller acquired it in May of 2023 with 33,000 miles. So now here in January of 2026, you will be seeing it for sale pretty soon, 43,000 miles for question mark price. And as I said, we'll get into that here in a minute. So now onto the photos. This car, obviously very heavily modified. It has air suspension. It originally had air suspension modifications before, but it has since been updated and the air struts have been replaced. And so that can't be inexpensive either. But the owner says it has PPF, it has paint protection film on the front surfaces, but the Tom's Aero kit, it does not have any PPF on. So it's showing chips and things like that, something that he has disclosed. But basically the damage from the accident, everything looks like it's properly repaired. As I said before, I see alignment. I don't see any alignment issues. I see everything that looks like it aligns well. The paint match looks close, and I really don't see any other excessive wear on touch points like steering wheel or seat bolsters, anything like that. It looks like it's been well taken care of. The owner does say that the carbon fiber is starting to delaminate on the passenger dash panel. I don't have any photos of that. But as I said, it presents very well. And, you know, car with 43,000 miles, I wouldn't expect it to have really heavy wear or anything on it. A note on the PPF is if it is original or, you know, from after the accident, it's getting up there almost 10 years old. I would probably consider replacing it before it starts to crack and get a lot worse, because once it starts to crack, it's going to be a whole lot more expensive and difficult to remove it. And so it'll look like something like that if you don't do anything about it. And the owner also said that this car was not winter driven, and so he has other cars for that. So this car was just like a nice day car, and that's pretty evident with the mileage. In the last 3+ years that he's owned it, like less than 10,000 miles, 9 or 10,000 miles that were put on it. So now onto the price. So if this car was stock, and we're gonna start with that. If it's stock, clean title, no accidents, which it's not, with 43,000 miles, this car should probably be in like the $50,000 to $52,000 range. You could maybe go just a little bit higher, but then you have to adjust down for the accident. Typical minor accidents, you're going to adjust down 5 or 6%. This was a little bit more than a minor accident, so maybe adjust down a few more percentage beyond that. Now, this car does have a lot of very expensive, tasteful mods to it, and so you have to factor that in. And to some people, it's worth nothing. You know, mods don't add any value. To others, I've heard people say like 50% of whatever the value of the actual part is, not including labor. You add that much to the price. So I don't know the specific cost of what's in it, but you know, I know that the Tom stuff is very expensive and the air suspension stuff is very expensive. And he also does have the associated adjustable links for it, upgraded front lower control arm bushings. So the things that should be done when you modify a car like this are done. So I would say it's done properly. So I guess it's between whatever the seller wants to add for the value for the mods and what somebody is willing to pay for it. I would say if you're gonna put like a retail price on this car, probably somewhere around $54,000, $55,000, and you can, you know, work down from there if needed. But I think there is a buyer for this car, and it's just somebody that wants one that's already modified, and you have to find someone that matches that taste. So now onto the service history. This car is pretty well dealer serviced from 2016 to 2020, but not a lot of miles have been put on it beyond that. And so the first entry of note is July of 2018. The JLB recall was done, that's the high pressure fuel pumps, and the passenger side headlight was replaced for moisture in it under warranty. I do see a few of those. And a new rear tow hook cover was replaced. August of 2018, moisture in the driver's side headlight. So the driver's headlight was also replaced under warranty. So both headlights have been replaced in 2018. April of 2019, the check engine light was on. It says due to the aftermarket, it was a mass airflow sensor code due to the aftermarket Takeda intake, and an O2 sensor code due to the aftermarket exhaust. So it could be an exhaust leak or something like that. Obviously it's been addressed since then, at least I would hope so. And there was a note about the transmission jumping in second gear. A note on that, if you are driving this car and it's very cold out, or just in general, it takes a long time for the transmission in this car to heat up. It has 3 gallons of fluid. It has 12 quarts of fluid that it has to heat up, and the transmission computer will basically not let you drive or not let it shift very aggressively until the transmission temperature is above 111 degrees Fahrenheit. But before that, it'll feel like the transmission can slip from like first to second, second to third. It's doing that to try to preserve the transmission. And so I do see that complaint in a lot of service histories, that it's sluggish or it's skipping or a shift flare or something like that. And all that is the transmission is not fully warmed up. And so that's probably what was going on here. I don't suspect there's any transmission issues. August of 2020, the sunroof was making noise. They ordered parts for it under warranty, and the right rear wheel bearing was making noise. So they're going to replace that, ordered the parts for it as well. August of 2020 also, then they went ahead and replaced that rear wheel bearing, right rear, at 28,000 miles. And October of 2020, $29,000, the entire new sunroof assembly replaced under warranty for the rattle. And in most cases, it's probably just the seal, but dealers, while these cars are under warranty, they seem to have no problem spending the money to drop the headliner, remove everything, remove the sunroof assembly, realign everything, all the labor involved and the cost for the sunroof. Like it's potentially about $6,000 or $7,000, depending on what all else was done. Then there's a 3-year gap, but only about 5,000 miles during that 3-year gap. So that could just be an oil change and nothing else. Nothing on Carfax either. So I would assume that this current owner has kind of done a lot of it DIY. And as he said, there's a long list of things that have been done. New tires, the TVD service was done, the transmission was done, transmission service was done. He also installed the FIGS front lower control arm bushings. It has adjustable suspension links, as I said. Everything that it has a Starlight headliner, some other mods too, the carbon fiber steering wheel, but it's very well serviced under his ownership, and it basically needs nothing. The only thing I asked him about was the brakes. And so the brakes are probably halfway through their life is what he said. So you're good for a while, but in the future, expect to do that. The valley plate is not currently leaking. However, it has not been done. So put money aside for that in the future as well, especially if you're going to start putting some pretty serious miles on this car. So what else is not done? The ZLZ customer service campaign, if you're taking this to a warm climate like Florida, here in Texas, Arizona, Southern California, well, not Southern California, but some kind of hot climate, then you may have issues with the sticky, deformed, delaminating dash. And the in-service date on this car is October 6th of 2016. So you have until October 6th of 2026 for coverage under that customer service program. It is 10 years from the in-service date, unlimited mileage, that Lexus will replace it free of charge. Otherwise, the part for the dash is only like $90, and I'm sure they're doing that to financially assist people that need it out of the coverage. But it is many hours of labor to pull the dash, move everything over to the new dash, put the new dash back in, reassemble everything. And so like it could potentially be a couple $1,000s if it's out of warranty or out of this coverage. And the other two things I don't see done is the low pressure fuel pump being reprogrammed. So if you shut everything off, shut the seats off, the AC, the stereo, everything off, but leave the car running, listen in the back seat. If you hear a humming or a buzzing noise, that is the low pressure fuel pump that needs to be reprogrammed. It has not been done on this car. And also the KLG customer service program, that is the GPS location or sluggish GPS. If you're on the main road, it may show you off to the side road, something like that. So I don't see that. And then the final thing is the HVAC servo sweep. This car has never had that done. So if you're gonna go look at this car, make sure that everything's fully up to temperature. It means the two little diamonds in the center dash for the temperature, make sure those are both halfway up. Set one side to max hot, one side to max cold, and cycle through everything. The defrost, the head, the feet, the rear, refresh or fresh air, and then switch sides and do the same thing. And if anything doesn't respond, then you can do the HVAC servo sweep. And if it still doesn't do it, then you may have to replace some of the servos. So finally, would I buy this car? I think if the price was right, you know, the air suspension stuff, that's not really my thing. But I think, as I said before, I think there is a buyer for this car. You just have to find the right buyer, and it has to be listed for the right price. I'm not very good at kind of figuring out the value when you have a lot of mods like this. And so that's why I'll just say, I'll leave it as it's worth whatever somebody's willing to pay for it, but you don't want to price yourself out of the market where it's too high, where it turns off potential buyers. And so I think that if it has a fair starting price, I think you'll end up finding a buyer for this car, because at the end of the day, it is a clean title car and it is low mileage, but it does have that accident on the history, but it is well maintained. It has brand new tires, you know, all quality mods, things like that. So I think that you've got a pretty good buyer pool out there, and I think this car will find a buyer. So anyways, that's what I've got for you guys, VIN1293. If you think of a good price that you'd pay for this car, leave it in the comments and let me know. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.